Good afternoon, US. Good evening, UK, and welcome to Paranormal Path Peeps. And tonight we have the Ghost Whisperer, Tony Ferguson. How are you doing?
All good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. It's so great to speak to you.
And yourself?
'Cause you're
Finally,
always so
finally we got
busy.
there.
I know, that's it. It was such bad circumstances last time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah. But as ever, sort of question like this paranormal journey. You're on a massive journey at the moment, and you've done so much. But where did it all start for you?
Mainly when I was a kid, I used to see quite what was a tall gentleman in my granddad's house,
Oh,
and that was quite frequent. And it wasn't until I got a bit older, my family started talking about paranormal happenings in the house, and it sort of validated the experience that I was having as a kid in my nan's house. Because my nan used to say, "Oh, he cries a lot when he comes around here." What it was, she thought I hated her, but it wasn't the case of that. It was the gentleman that I saw quite regularly. So it wasn't until I got a bit older, my mum started telling me about some of the happenings in the house. They used to hear a young lady with whooping cough, that sort of thing,
oh
and
wow.
yeah, and things moving in the house, that sort of thing, and even down to people seeing a male figure in the house. So it kind of validated my experience.
Oh wow. And it's great in a way that your family knew as well. And it
Yeah, they
was
tried. They
like
tried
down
to
to
pull
your
some.
imagination.
I mean, that kind of validated for me. It intrigued me because obviously when they started talking about it, I was like, okay. And then I found out my brother had experiences in the house also.
Oh
So,
wow.
so I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. And he got into the paranormal also. He actually runs a channel called Dorset Ghost Investigators.
Oh awesome.
Yeah, so
Really?
which he's not no longer doing it as much now, but they sort of stopped it, but they do it from time to time.
Oh, that's
Um,
great.
but yeah, as I got older, I just sort of thought to myself, I want to look to see what I actually experienced as a child. Because as I got a bit older as well, we went back to the house, and my stepdad, who is a complete skeptic, doesn't believe in the afterlife, thinks it's a load of nonsense. We were sat in the living room, and we heard a young child struggling to breathe,
Oh
and then we
wow.
went straight downstairs to my mum and said it sounded like she was being sick or something, and we said, "Are you all right?" And she went, "Yeah, why?" And then we said, "We can hear someone struggling to breathe." And then my mum looked and said, "No, they couldn't hear it." But my granddad said, "Oh, it's just a young girl." And my mum said, "Yeah, she's often quite heard here where she struggles to breathe." So, and he sort of looked at me like that, as if like, "What did we just hear?"
Oh.
And but we experienced it together. And even though he's still got that skeptical, I always say to him when I've spoken to him, "You had the experience. What can you put it down to?" And he still
Yeah.
can't, but he still has that blockage where I'm not acknowledging it. It scares me, and I think that's what it comes down to.
Right, okay. Yeah, I totally get you because I think as a child I would have been scared.
Yeah.
Too scared really. And then as I sort of grew up, like I kind of ignored it. Like things happened, and you think, yeah, whatever. That's creaking floorboards
Hmm.
or something. And like time and time again, you just like lie to yourself, don't you? I guess until
Yeah,
then you
I think
realise that you can't deny it any longer.
Yeah, no, to be fair, I mean, I wasn't one of those as a kid that really believed in it all. I watched a few
Yeah,
programs growing up, and I thought, yeah, it's a load of nonsense. It's too. But then as I've got older, I've realised there's a lot more than what meets the eye with it all. As I've tapped
yeah,
into what's going on, I've never been sort of one of those that have gone to psychic development classes or anything. Everything I've learned off is off my own back,
wow,
and I
good.
think that's the best way sometimes because you go in with nothing, you expect nothing, but then you get more than what you bargained for.
Yeah, that's it. We've all got our own roots, haven't we? And we
Mm,
all find the way that we want to sort of go ahead with this.
yeah,
And
definitely.
you know, you sort of you go out to a lot of locations, don't you? And you also work with a team at Fort Whitley as well, don't you?
Yeah, so I work alongside Ghost to Ghost Paranormal Investigations. They're like an events team, and obviously I've been going to loads of events teams throughout the last 4 years, just turning up unannounced, and then documenting evidence with the actual events teams. And I've managed to, on most of them, capture something that's unexplained or call it out like a disembodied voice.
Wow.
What people may not be hearing to the naked ear, but then on the camera, it's backing up what I'm saying. And I've
Yeah.
been doing this for the last 4 years now, and I've met some amazing people, skeptics, parapsychologists,
Yeah.
non-believers, you name it. And as far as I'm concerned, every time I've met these people, it's been an interesting, investigation because every time they've walked out and thought, "What was that? I can't explain that." And I said, "You wait till you watch the footage back. that's what's going to amaze you more, because the camera is going to back up what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
I don't really use devices. I used to when I first got into it, because my brother, who had a channel, etc., he had loads, and I thought I'm going to try it out. If you don't try these things, you're never going to know. But I find, for me, if I just sit there, listen, and focus, I tend to get more than what I do with the devices, because a lot of it can be debunked, but some of it can't. So it's
That's
just one of
right.
those.
Yeah, and I think the more you do it, the more you see, and the more questions you have about it as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like you say, you'll say, for instance, you go to a location and you get evidence, and you think, and half the time of what you're calling out isn't there, but you're only going by what people tell you of the history.
Yeah,
And I find that quite amazing. There's like, well, why is there a child here? I mean, I think on several locations that I've done in the last 2 years, underground, and 1 o'clock in the morning, and some of this has been witnessed by the public as well. And again, you've got all sorts there of non-believers and etc. And we're hearing children's voices,
yeah,
and this is coming out on camera. You can't explain that. There's no reason for a child to be underground. Kelvin and Hatch was one of recent, where we're hearing children's voices. Hi, Sue. But yeah, so it's one of those. It's amazing that I'm experiencing it with the public. That this is what I'm enjoying more so now, because
yeah.
people can never say he's a one-trick pony. He captures evidence on his own or with people he knows. I'm capturing it with the public, so
It's
it's
brilliant.
making it that little bit more extra
But
special.
it is great that you've got video evidence. Now, I haven't got any evidence. Mainly mine is the storytelling. I have got evidence from the weekend. I did record things, but it's just me holding my phone. But usually I'm taking part, and I've never actually set up a camera, which is
Yeah,
annoying, really, because people go, "Well, you come up with a story. Well, what have you got to back up? Nothing." That's why it is. But
yeah. I mean,
we all do
some
it.
people. I think some people in the paranormal field is they expect. I mean, I hear it quite often. Why does he capture so much? And I don't capture anything. But it's like saying, well, why are you a plumber, but I can't be a plumber? We can't
Yeah,
all have. Everyone's tunes in differently and stuff, and everyone's different in
that's
their own
right.
unique way. But I think a lot of mine is down to I've got ADHD, and my energy frequency is a lot different to other people. And where I'm quite high energized in general, when I walk into a building, I always put it down to like this: if you're one of those that are high energized and a spirit's there, they're going to see your energy more so than the rest. So they're
Yeah,
going to be more intrigued by you because your frequency is different. And
yeah,
that's how I visualize it. I've also recently, last couple of investigations, we had a couple of autistic people turn up, and it was lovely to meet them. And I noticed with them as well, when I was hearing the stuff, they were hearing it, and I thought this is interesting because they're really into the paranormal themselves, but they were picking up on what I was hearing. I thought there's something in this, and I said this just before lockdown, that I want to try and get a team together in the future of people with ADHD, just to see what sort of response we get. If the energy is more charged, or if it's nothing happens, it may not. It may just be a case that, it might not be that, but that's what I'm pointing it down to from obviously
yeah.
growing up. So it's a possibility, but it's like anything, we just don't know, do we?
Well, that's it. They say that environmental things can sort of affect it, like storms, but
Yeah.
to prove it's different. But it's nice that you're going down that route and you're actually
Hmm.
questioning this as well, and it's
Yeah.
brilliant, isn't it?
You have to question everything when you're doing this. I mean, I'm one of those. I even question
Oh,
parapsychology. As I was speaking to you before this,
yeah,
at the end of the day, yes, things can be explained, but some things can't. And you've got to look into things more clearly. As if like I said to you before, the uh, parapsychology thing with the 10% of the brain. Some people say it's more, but you can't really explain everything with that. It
so can you
explains.
explain to everybody what you said about the
Yeah, yeah.
parapsychology?
So obviously, I've spoken to quite a few parapsychologists in the past. I've even been on an event, which I'll tell you about in a minute, at Walkie Hole with one. And we had this debate basically about, he didn't believe in the afterlife, he could explain it. So I just basically said to him, how can you explain something when you're only using it off 10-15% of the brain? There could be parts of the brain that need to be unlocked, that we can actually say, yes, that's why we're experiencing this. And didn't have a comeback answer for it. It got a bit agitated, if I'm being honest, because obviously it's like, it's like me saying to you now in a hospital, hi, my name is Tony, I'm your heart surgeon today. I only know 10-15% of this job. Are you going to trust that heart surgeon, or are you going to say, I want a doctor that knows what he's doing? So it's a bit like that. I try and look at, I'm skeptical about that, as I am skeptical about the paranormal and the devices. So it's like you got to balance it out and not just go, I'm that side, but I'm not that. So So yeah, that's what I think. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. Oh, that's absolutely awesome. I love the way that you try and think of everything, and you've got responses as well. And
Yeah,
it
yeah.
seems
Well,
to blow people's minds, doesn't it, when you respond? Probably in
well,
a different way from they expect.
yeah, definitely. I mean, the parapsychologist I dealt with was a name called Bill. He was actually at Wookie Hole. Wookie
Okay.
Hole actually asked us to go in and document proof of the afterlife, because the first time we went there with the public, we caught disembodied voices of a female. Now, Bill was with us on the first time, and he had to stay with us, the whole group, because he's a tour guide for health and safety reasons. Now, I called out probably about 12 voices that were caught there in front of the public, and the public heard it, and it was a female. Some people say it's the witch. I'm like, well, it's a female that's responding. It could be anyone, but possibility.
Yeah.
And so we went back to the actual. We showed the footage to the owners of Wookie Hole and stuff, and they want us to go back in there and document evidence of the afterlife. Just four of us with the tour guide.
Wow.
We went back with the Jamie, who was a tour guide. We caught disembodied voices in there with him, and then we went back with the third time, so with Bill, and Bill was a parapsychologist. So I did a little interview with him and said, Bill, I need this first time for me. You work here. Is there any reason why we should be hearing children's voices, voices down in the tunnels, anything possible like that in general? He said no. And I got his version of what he believes in. That's when we had a little debate and stuff. And I sort of just said, look, this is what I believe. We went into the tunnels and we caught children's voices again. And he heard it, but he still denied it. So I said to Bill, there's a new chamber that's opened up. I want you to call out, and I'm going to tell you what I hear. And you may even hear it yourself, but all you got to do is call out, listen. No response, that's fine. Just keep going. Ask questions that are relevant. They're going to know who you are. You know the history of this place. So just go with what you feel. He called out and said, is there anyone here that wants to speak to me? And a clear male voice says, get out. He heard it, and it was caught on camera. Now, we're the only two males in that location, but yet, and we're hearing a male voice. Now, this is caught 5 times on the investigation. And then we caught some stuff in the mirror maze. And again, after I said to Bill, I know I'm not going to make you a believer, but when you listen back to this footage, I can promise you that the things that we've caught is going to back up what you experienced.
Yeah. Wow.
And then obviously that hit media and stuff, and a lot of TV companies got in touch because they want to document it because it's a big location. But it was lovely to have the chance to go in there. It's never nice hearing children. That's one thing I do hate on investigations, when you're under and you're hearing children's voices. For me, it's like I find that really disturbing. Like, why are you down here and stuff? So yeah, it does. That does hit me quite hard after. I think I think, how can I help? What can I do? Why are they here? So yeah, that's been caught on several underground locations and stuff. So Calvin and Hatch being one that we've just recently actually investigated, and we're looking to go back with the gentleman in question that runs it. I'm hoping to get him, because he's a skeptic also, involved, because I think that he's got a lot of stories to tell, but yet he's a skeptic. So I'm like, well, I want to show you what's down there, because we've caught stuff down there already. So yeah, so that's a little interesting experience with a parapsychologist, and but yeah,
that's beautiful when they sort of experience things. I love it when skeptics sort of do experience things. I do host events. I've hosted events at Derby Dell, and I host events in Hinckley Paranormal Research Centre. And when you get the newbies, and they're like so scared sometimes, or different emotions. I don't know what they're going to expect, and if something comes through, it's just fantastic. Just so that they get a little insight, and if then they catch the bug for wanting to go frequently and go to different places, that's just brilliant, isn't it?
Well,
you were there at the start, really. So
yeah, I think for me, it's what I've always said from when I've started this out. You've got nothing to prove to no one or nobody. You've got to do it for yourself. But if you can go to an investigation and give someone an experience that they're never going to forget, or it's going to make them question something, then that's going to help them along their journey to go and discover for themselves. Because me and you putting stuff out on YouTube, Facebook, on the camera will never prove to anyone. And it goes same for anyone in the paranormal. 100% that there's something out there. But if you can encourage people to go and find what's out there and give them a different way of doing things, or hints and tips, then your work there is done in itself. But as long as you're doing it in a nice manner and with a bit of respect.
Yeah, that's a big one, isn't it? Respect and being
Mm.
respectful as well to like the spirit as well.
Yeah.
Like, you're going into their homes, their buildings, or wherever, and you're not going to go in shouting at them.
No.
If they tell you to whatever, then so be it. But it's their environment, and you don't know why they're like that.
Yeah, I mean, with myself in general, like I do get now why I go into a lot of locations, and I get a lot of disembodied voices saying "get out," and it's like I get it. It's not because of just me; it's because of the people before me and the people before
Yeah.
them, and they've not had a good experience, and it is still their home. Warmley Clock Tower was one that I recently visited, and that hit me here
Oh,
and stuff, and we caught some amazing stuff there, like disembodied voices. A lot was get out, admittedly, and this was caught on camera and heard by several. We heard footsteps when
oh,
we're all sat down, literally just walking, but no one there, and you can clearly hear it on camera. It's just like but everyone was sat down. So there was several things that we had, but it's like I said, I'll say to everyone else, if someone walks into your home, what are you going to say? Get out, because
yeah,
for them this could still be their home, and they're trying to sort of like live in their own space, but they've got people coming in, either like trashing the place or being disrespectful, and they've had bad experiences.
yeah. And also, we're doing something which to them would be wrong.
Definitely.
They went down the religious path. We're
Yeah.
doing witchcraft, satanic, occult, and it was something they were taught to go against.
Yeah.
It was something which didn't happen.
No, but that's
Because it's more normal, isn't it? Well,
yeah. I mean, it depends on what time period you're dealing with as well.
yeah, that's right.
I mean, I always go in with, I always think of questions that I think would be relevant to them and their time era,
Oh,
or
bless
just
you.
go down different sort of eras rather than just sort of, I could sit there and people would think you're crazy and stuff, but I could sit there for hours. I did it the other day at Fort Whitley, and I was just sat by the tunnels and stuff, just trying to find out why they're there and stuff. And I was getting responses, and it was coming out on camera. Admittedly, some of it was still get out, but I don't
Yeah,
care. At the end of the day, even if that interaction, you've made that energy to come and try and interact with me, and
yeah,
even if it is something horrible, I think, well, I've caught something that you've actually, told me to f off. I've had that before, you know,
yeah. That happens a lot.
yeah, exactly. But
Yeah,
I don't take it personal. It's we're from different generations, and
that's right.
they probably look at us and think the world's a mess at the moment.
So yeah, so they do.
Yeah,
Like me, I'm a woman, so I'm a woman, and I'm asking, well-to-do male questions. That's wrong, isn't it?
I
You know?
always say this. I work with three females. Work with my wife and Debbie and Emily on Ghost to Ghost. We go on privates,
Yeah,
and whenever we capture a male voice, whenever they talk, they either swear at them, and this is caught on camera. I say he just told you to f off, or cunt. I'm not going to say
yeah,
it, but you get words like that, and it's the camera's picking up on it, and I'm like, well, I'm the only male here, and I'm definitely not calling you that, guys.
yeah.
And I'm on camera. I always make sure everyone's in shot, and I leave locked off cameras everywhere,
Oh,
because
bless
obviously I love
you.
to cover. But then I, like I say to them, and they agree. In them times, women had no rights. Women
That's
pretty much
right.
were like, how dare you talk to me? I mean, Debbie's quite confrontational in the sense, in a good way, that I'm a woman, but be respectful, and
Yes.
I'm respectful to you. Show it back, kind of thing. And you've got to be a bit firm sometimes,
Yeah,
because
that's right.
obviously. But then at the same point, you've just got to realise it's from a different generation.
That's it. But just go back to some comments and things. So, hi to everyone. Thanks for watching. We've got Marie from Wales. Thanks. Both Connor and Hector have autism, and Connor is very sensitive to energy and spirit. And he is, I've seen him at Derby Jail a few times. And yeah, it is amazing. I don't know if my nephew is, because he's autistic, so I don't know if he picks up a lot. I've never really had the conversation with him. So, he did have an imaginary friend. Yes,
Oh.
which he managed to describe quite a lot. So, nowadays you actually question whether it was. I've even spoken to him about this lady he met. So,
Well,
I need to have that conversation again. To be fair,
I believe these imaginary friends are real.
oh, spirit,
Personally,
I do.
children. People often say to me, "Why do children pick up on more things?" My personal belief is I'm a bit like myself. ADHD. I'm a bit childlike. I like a bit of fun and banter. I don't take life too seriously. And a child is, it's not stressed out with bills and life in general. And
Yeah.
they're fearless. And I'm one of those people that I don't really fear much because I'm not scared of death, because I know there's an afterlife. So for
Yeah.
me, I walk into a building, I'm like, I don't care whatever I interact with tonight. It happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And a child's the same. They're fearless. They're still, basically growing up into this crazy world that we live in, where once you get into it, you lose it because technology hits you, and then life hits you. Kids, you do the whole shebang, and I
Yeah.
think that's what stops people from. Some people lose their ability from the child. Some people keep it. It just depends on the individual whether they continue, on a spiritual journey, or some people are just lucky and they have a gift. It's just one of
Yeah.
those.
And as a child, like, if as soon as they can talk, they're talking to something in their room, which
Yeah.
they can see, they're not going to know any otherwise, are they? And until they mention it to the family member, and it depends how they sort of take it from there, doesn't it, really?
I've had a few people, and I've done it on privates, because I do a lot of stuff behind closed doors,
Yeah.
where basically I go in and I record it, and I'm like, yeah, there's someone here. I can hear them. They're talking, and the child's not involved, but I'm doing the house without the child there to see what I can actually encounter. And I'm like, yes, there is. There's definitely someone here.
Oh,
And some even children's voices that I've caught in the house. And some of these houses are like big houses, and they're in the middle of nowhere. And
yeah.
they're the best ones, because it's not attached to anything. There's, and so it's things like that I do behind closed doors. And even recently with a lady, she lost her husband, and she had another paranormal investigator come in with an app and said that, and it came out the word demon, and she said to her, and this is one of the things that really annoy me, we're going to have to try and get a priest in. And I was like, and the lady
No.
contacted, the lady knew a friend of a friend, and they contacted me. I've gone there straight away, and I said, look, to the lady, don't trust what's been told to you. It's an app. It's just words. If it's come out of that, I said straight away, I can walk into this house and tell you there's nothing like that here at all. And I actually spent a bit of time in her bedroom. She was there. I got her to ask a few questions. We caught her husband's voice on camera
Oh,
responding.
beautiful.
It's because she was getting told, she was getting touched on her back at night, and she's quite a lovely
Oh.
lady. Like, she's like, but it scared her at first. And
Yeah, it does. It can, yeah.
when she had that app come out of that, straight away, she was like, oh, have I got something? And I just said to her, no, it's not. So we went back twice, and I've showed her the evidence, and she broke down and cried. She said, oh, thank you so much. She goes, you don't know how much that means to me. Like, just, she heard his voice straight off and said that that's him. And he said, I'm here. When she called out straight off. And I had us all in shot, like I always do. I said to her, look, we're all sat here. There's a male that's responding to you. Is that your husband's voice? And she said, yeah. She goes, it is. And she goes, I did think he was here, and she said to me, the reason why I think he's here is because I'm going for an operation next week. So it's quite a severe one. So I think he's
Oh,
trying to comfort
bless.
me. So it was a
Yeah.
way of him comforting. So yeah, it's
Oh,
nice to have stories like that, because ever since then she's kept in touch, and she was never into the paranormal, but she said, I love you watching your stuff now and stuff.
oh,
So
that's beautiful.
hmm,
Yeah. But that's the thing, like, as a medium, doing what we do, we've got such a responsibility to people.
hmm,
And,
definitely,
like, I do know people find apps work, they work for them. I've just managed to download one which I had very interesting. Well, I can say what happened. I went to the Robin Hood Legacy in Nottingham the other night. We were just walking by it, and I caught him, and he says, "Oh, do you want?" So, sort of did a quick invest without kit or anything, but I had got this app, and it came out with my friend's name. It came out with the word assault, and it
yeah,
came out with the son's name. Well,
okay.
what are you going to do? So she phoned him, and luckily he was all right. But my gosh, it's worrying, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think with the app, I've tried out. I mean, people always say to me, "Can you try this and give me your honest opinion?" And I'm like, at the end of the day, if you're going to be a paranormal investigator, you've got to try things without
You
just
try
saying
things,
it's a
yeah.
load of crap. If you don't, then how are we going to evolve as a paranormal group, as a with
Yeah.
anything? And I tried it, and the one interesting thing that I could say about this app, and I've only used it a couple of times. One was when we were actually at a asylum, and I heard a child's voice say Thomas. As I
Oh,
said that, the app went Thomas straight off within seconds, And
Wow.
Eddie
Yeah.
and Emily and Bev said that you said that before the app. And I said, well, it's because I heard a child voice saying Thomas. And for me, I didn't care about the app. I was like, why am I hearing a child's voice? Like, but then the actual asylum itself did host kids as well as sort of young, vulnerable adults. So it was a mixture.
Yeah.
And it was 1 o'clock in the morning yet again. And I just kept hearing this child constant. And the cameras picked it all up again. But I found that interesting because I was like, well, the spirit I caught on camera said Thomas. I heard it to the ear. That app said Thomas. So
Yeah.
there's things like that I think, well, that's interesting. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't,
You,
I couldn't say to people that's paranormal. I just say to people, I'll leave it with what you think. It's up to you. It's your decision. For
yeah.
me, it's all about the disembodied voices. If I hear something that's backing something up, I mean, I know you said about the cat balls. There's been a couple of times where
Yeah. Cat
um,
balls.
people said to me, do you mind if I use them? Of course, go for it. You know, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, we're here to experiment and try these things out. And there were a couple of questions that were asked, and I said, there's a voice that responded to saying yes. The cat ball went off straight away with it. And then this happened quite frequently. And I thought, well, that's interesting because I'm getting a disembodied voice, and this is all caught on camera as well, responding to me, and it's working with the cat ball on certain questions.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just going off continuously. But yet again, I just say, look, this is what's happened. It's down to you whether you believe or not. It doesn't. I'm not here to prove or disprove. I'm here for me to document the journey. It's up to
That's
you
all.
what you believe.
Yeah. It's very similar to me. Like, it's like probability. Like, you ask a cat ball to go off, it goes off. It's like, oh God, how? There's no obvious reason. Then
Yeah.
people can think it's faulty, something like that. But then
Mm.
you say stop, and it stops. Can you go off? And it go. And can you light it up for yes? And it does. And yeah, and it.
That's interesting to me because
Yeah,
it's at the end of the day, it's what I call intelligent responses.
that's
And
right,
I
definitely.
say this with the disembodied voices. People will ask, is it residual? If it was residual, why is it Why is it saying to me after a question, or he or she, or they're responding? So there could be times where there's residual things playing off, but it wouldn't affect that sort of situation.
That's right. Yeah. Now Cliff Jones mentions the Spirit Talker app. Now this is the one I mentioned, which I used in Robin Hood, and the
That's
words
the
it
one
came.
I use.
Yeah. Now the words it came out with were brilliant. We were having a conversation. It was coming out with things, but when it came out with my friend's name and the son's name, and that word, it's like, well, that was a bit ropey, but I don't know. But luckily, it was all right.
Hmm.
It gets you worried because it does come out with a lot of things. And once again, you mentioned a name. I was at Paranormal Research Centre. Um, One of the hosts, she sort of said male,
Yeah.
and then that said male straight away. It's
Hmm.
not listening to a conversation. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And it's just fascinating. Or you can say something and it can you give me a name, and it gives you a name. Well, you've got coincidence, haven't you? But then when it comes out with a name of something what is known in another room, or somebody in the group around you, and yeah, it's just Sue Robinson as well has some amazing responses with the app, one of the good ones. And that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, but Sue's actually just recently come on some of our investigations. She's joined
Oh,
actually,
brilliant.
and she's some of the things she's experienced and listening back. I said to her the other day about it and stuff. This journey is going to be an amazing one for you because it's like we're not really a group that we call out, we listen, we take it in turns, we know how it works. It's like it's not done for like what's the word? Some people, if they don't believe it, they're just going to ask a question for the sake of it. We all try and sort of tune in with the building, ask the right
Yes,
questions, and it's we've got a good bunch there where everyone knows how how it all works. No one fidgets, everyone sat still, and because any sort of movement could contaminate the evidence, and so we
that's
always
right.
make sure we're comfortable. And same with the public. We try and show them a bit of a different experience rather than just it all be about
Standard,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
listen out, just sit there, listen out. And 9 times out of 10, when we do this, especially at Fort Widley, a recent one we did actually was when we had the child's voice saying hello, and everyone just sort of looked at each other. And I said, did you all hear that? And they all looked at me. Yeah, I said, well, there you go. That's the child that I heard on my own.
That's
Did literally
beautiful.
out an hour before, and I've caught that on camera, and now I've witnessed it with the public.
Yeah,
So it's nice when you get that because it backs up what you're experiencing on your own.
that's
Um,
right. It is great.
I mean, we recently did another charity event was actually last year with veterans, forgotten veterans, and
Oh,
this veteran was a non-believer. He didn't believe in it, so I got him to sit down with the public and said, oh, "Now you're a veteran. This is a military base. They're going to respond to you more so than me because I'm not welcome here. I'm a civilian. So I want you to ask some questions that are relevant to what you think and feel, and then just listen out." So we had the public with us. We had 4 non-believers and 2 skeptics and 3 believers in this group. And on camera, when I saw their faces when they heard it, he called up. He said, "Is there anybody here with me? If so, can you let me know by a voice, or can you, or some way of let me know, or touch me?" And then there's a clear voice just behind him. Now the camera's facing him, and he heard it right in his ear. And there's a voice saying, "I'm here," clear as day,
beautiful.
male. And everybody in the group heard it. They all looked at each other, and this couple, this girl was literally coming into her boyfriend like that, scared witless. She was one of the non-believers, and I said, now you've heard that, go again, ask another question. Are you one of the friends that I serve with? And then the voice says no, straight off, clear as day. And then everyone's like, "Did you hear that?" I was like, "Yep." I said,
Yep.
he's getting a better response because he's welcome. We're civilians. They're not going to respond as much. We're going to get outs and goes.
Yeah,
He's
that's
he's
right.
respected because he's a veteran. So
Yeah.
it's changing the direction of things. And normally in Fort William you get outs, goes, leaves because we're not welcome, and I get that
Yeah,
because it's a
that's
military
right.
base. So yeah, it's just different things like that. And he walked away and he said, "I've seen some crazy things in my life, but I've never ever." But that was clear as day in my ear. I said, "Well, no one was behind you." I said, "But there was, but unfortunately, it wasn't any of us, and you could see that." And
Yeah.
he said, "Well, I can't explain that." And and I don't believe in any of this rubbish. He said, but that's made me think now. So it's things like that. Again, it's experiences. It's
It
you
is
walk
wonderful. Yeah.
you can walk away with that and think, "Wow, I gave someone that experience." It doesn't happen all the time. If it did, then the paranormal wouldn't be the paranormal.
Yeah, that's right. I once had somebody have a massive experience and they phoned me on the way home because they're a bit worried about it. But,
Mm,
you just talk them through it and just help as much as you can. But, if
yeah,
you do paranormal, you don't know what you're going to get.
no.
And that's what makes it so fascinating, isn't it?
Well, yeah. There's places
You
that
know,
we go to, and nothing happens, and it's like, well, there you go. Doesn't mean to say it's not haunted. They just may not just want to interact with you, or
that's right.
there's. But it's just one of those things, like you say. It's just I believe everywhere's haunted. Personally, I don't believe
I
there's
do.
somewhere. Yeah,
Yes.
I believe they're everywhere because I hear things lot everywhere in any location. I go to people's houses and like, "You've got
Yeah,
someone in there with you," but I know how to tap it on and tap it off. If I
that's
didn't,
it.
I'd be someone that literally would just be going insane. It's once I leave a building, that's it. I'm literally switched off completely, and I think if I didn't, it'd be horrendous.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, a lot of mediums say that, like when people start off, like they got them queuing at night, or they're
Mm,
waking them up in the middle of the night, so they go to sleep. And then because they're at the lowest, sort of the weakest, aren't they? And then
yeah,
like the spirits are all there waking them up, going, "Hello, got a message," and oh gosh. But I don't know what I do. I just go in and things happen, and sometimes I can tune in. It's all good. So yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? And it is
yeah,
great when you can connect and sort of tune into them and sort of get a conversation. Ask the right questions.
yeah.
And that's the thing, isn't it? If you sort of can see or know something and then just get the yes answers, that's
Mm.
you
Well,
know,
anything. I always say, if you get
yeah.
anything, walk away, be proud of it. Because
Oh, that's
they've took
wonderful.
that time to use their energy to even communicate with you, even if it's horrible. They.
Exactly.
So it's one of those things. Don't
Yeah.
expect nothing, but if you get it, it's amazing. It's a breakthrough. And again, you can't prove to everybody. Even by watching through a screen, certain people might follow you and think, "Love his work." So others might think, "Nah, not for me." But that's fine. At the end of the day, everyone's different. The
That's
paranormal
right.
comes in so many aspects.
Oh,
It's
it does, yeah, because like you can say, what about cryptids? What about Sasquatch?
elementals.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, elementals, and yeah, just because we haven't seen or you may not have seen, that doesn't mean they're you know they're not
Mm.
there, does it? Like Loch Ness monster, we don't know. You know,
Well,
just
that's it. look at the UFO stuff. It's another
Wow,
thing that I can met
impressive. Yeah,
the amount of people that have shot that down, even down to scientists and parapsychology, that people having
yeah,
hallucinations, or how can 10 people that have seen a UFO have an hallucination together? That would be a miracle. But
yes.
now it's all coming to the table that there's things out there, and
At long
people,
last,
yeah,
yeah,
and I think one day that will be the same with us. It's gonna come to a point where something's going to happen, or it's the same with you just got to keep going. If you've got people out there that are going to keep pushing stuff out there and getting other people, encourage other people to go out and search for themselves, it's only going to help. But you just got to make sure that they go in the right direction and not the wrong.
yeah. I like. I'm going to get back to Cliff's question in a minute, but I like this. I'm bad at this. I think we maybe ask too many questions when trying to interact. We
Yeah.
should just try including them in the conversation. Maybe we'll get more of a response. And I've done that. I've been in a location and we've just been having a bit of a natter and a gossip in one room in the location, and like the K2 was going off in reply, and that was agreeing with us, and it was so funny, and they were just joining in the conversation, and in the end we involved them.
Yeah.
Say, oh, what do you think of? Oh yeah, okay, we agree, and what about this? And oh, it's awesome, yeah. But I think they get sick of the same questions as well, don't they?
This is why I always say think out the box, because
Definitely,
I,
yeah.
I I always go into a location now on my own for a bit and introduce myself out of
Oh,
respect,
lovely, yeah,
and just basically say, hi, I'm Tony. If there's any, and 9 times out of 10, if there's voices there with me, I capture it on camera and I call it out. I just heard you say this, and it gives me a chance to get familiar with the building as well. And banging noises and stuff like that, to say, well, that's not paranormal because I've heard that already.
yeah,
Before everyone else comes in, so it's a good chance to sort of get familiar with the building, see what I've encountered, and see if the public and everyone else encounters it later.
yeah.
It's a good way of me of experiment and also seeing what's really there, without too much contamination.
Yeah, it reminds me like we I was at National Justice Museum and going halfway through we've got fireworks going off and we
Mm,
thought, what the hell. And then you realise what it is. You think, well, what is that noise? And it takes you a while to work out what it is.
yeah,
And now I've just remembered we had fireworks going off last year because I actually went to the same location a year ago.
yeah.
It's weird how that's happened. I
Well,
didn't intend to do it.
no,
A year on it
you
coincidence.
manifested it.
Well, probably, yeah, because there's
Yep.
I've got an issue with the spirit there. That's a long story, so I won't go down that route. But yeah, it was challenging to say the least.
Oh,
But
okay.
hey ho, oops, it was fun. Dear me. Got here. Sue Robinson Mace at how many voices I picked up at the Don Styler's gym with you, Tony. That's an amazing evening.
Yeah, we recently visited there. I've been there a couple of times now. I love the gym. For me, it's like it
So,
was a haven, because it used to be a hospital for TB, and we've caught
oh
loads of
wow,
loads of disembodied voices there on the first visit, and then we've been back twice since. And again, the media got in touch with us, the local media and stuff, because it's quite a well-known location.
yeah,
And I've gone there with 3 different groups, as with Ghost to Ghost, different people each time. Every time we've caught disembodied voices responding to us, and it seems to be the same people that are there. But yeah, it's just one of those locations that it looks like a gym, but it used to be a hospital. And
yeah,
unfortunately, a lot of people suffered. And when I've heard the disembodied voices, a lot of them on camera sound like they're struggling to breathe. Again, TB was one of those
yeah.
things
That's
that
right.
hit the lungs, so it would make sense. But yeah, we've gone there on our own. I even conducted a vigil where they did this thing called the dark room, where they've got loads of Ouija boards in there and stuff. Now, for me, I wouldn't say that's paranormal, but a lot of things happen in that room. So I said, right, I want everyone to go in that room, spend 5-10 minutes on their own, ask that questions, and see what you get. Everybody that did that language got a response, but some didn't hear it, some did, but there was responding each time. Some not, some was just get out, go, and for just different people. I just wanted to see what responses we get if different people went in there. And so yeah, it was a good experiment. And Sue was on that one actually, and
Oh,
she.
brilliant.
So yeah, it's nice that she had that experience. And again, it's what it's all about. It's people can take away that experience and say, here's the footage to show you guys. I did experience. There's the voice. Where's it
Yeah.
come from?
It's just so fascinating, isn't it? I've got a question here from Cliff Jones then.
Yep.
Have you ever been scared?
Not as such, no. I've had bad experiences where things have been a bit. I think the ancient ram in was quite a weird one because me and Paul wasn't ourselves in there. Hi Kelly. But yeah, me and Paul wasn't in there ourselves in there and stuff, and it just felt like they call it the sway effect, where I say that my personal opinion is that spirit can drain your energy, and you start to feel a bit sway and
Yeah.
just a bit sort of off kill. But me and Paul for about half an hour just couldn't stop laughing. Now, bearing
Oh
in mind,
God.
it used to
Yeah.
be an inn, but I sussed out literally we're by the stairs, and I said to Paul, "Watch out, man!" I said, "I think we're trying to something's affecting us to get to that point where one of us fall down them stairs." So yeah, I've had experiences, but I've never been scared in such of I'm not going to do this again because I don't know. I've come into it one of those. Nothing really bad has happened as such as like that horrific that I know people report getting scratched and stuff like that, but I've never seen anyone happen to. Um,
I I heard somebody next door to me. They apparently have a demon, a spirit guide,
yeah,
and they said they got scratched down the. There's a horrible cave down at the bottom of the National Justice Museum, and
yeah,
we went in after, and it's horrible. But
ah,
we were kind of 7 of us, very experienced. We work by taking in the environment and atmosphere rather than um, gadgets. We didn't need to. The spirit were interacting with us directly,
yeah.
draining us. It's really intense. And then one of our friends saw something, and it was, yeah, we were just too weak, really, and we just decided for our own safety just to get out, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything. Know your own boundaries. If something don't feel
Oh,
right, I
yeah, we
always
were
say, I
worn
just.
out. That was it.
I
We'd
mean,
had
sorry, go on.
we'd had a really intense time, but yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of bad experiences, Adam, who's here actually, like this is fate. He
I,
was one of the gentlemen I actually turned up to. I actually turned up to the wrong event at Shepton Mallet, and he actually runs a paranormal events group, and kindly let us come on. And I believe even he believes it was fate. I was there for a reason. This
oh
actually
wow,
recently hit TV. Adam actually collapsed to the ground. He was doing a séance, and I don't take part in that sort of stuff. I always try and observe, see what's going on, and
right.
and record it. And I said to my wife at the time, something's not right. It's the calm before the storm. And I said something's going to happen. And within about a minute of that, Adam dropped to the ground in agony. And the interesting thing about this is we actually caught an apparition appear out of nowhere, and this is caught on camera, and walk off. So it literally just appears. It
Wow.
literally comes like a ball of light, appears, and then you can see its legs. It's been Kieran O'Keefe actually did like an analyze thing on paranormal captured recently,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things that again things don't just appear and just walk off. And with Adam's experience that he had there, I mean, I said to him I didn't record it because I put my hand over the camera. I thought I'm not about that because that's to me
Yeah.
it's personal.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
it's for Adam, he was like, what happened, and it was weird because when we got outside, he said, "Mate, I've got this urge just to give you a hug," and like he gave me a hug.
Oh,
It just feels better, and it was just weird because it's the first time I've ever met him. But yet I wasn't even meant to be on that event. It was the wrong event. Me having ADHD got the wrong date. Kelly
oh
was also
bless
there as
you.
well. Yeah, Kelly was there also on that as well. So it's nice that again I've met some random people, but yet had another paranormal experience of a ghost capture call with the public. And again, we had a lot of non-believers there that now I know for a fact that because I speak to quite a few that don't actually well they do believe in it now and they realise there's something out there. Kelly says, "Poor
Yeah.
Adam." Yeah, he had a horrific experience there. So talking about that gentleman's question, I've not had no horrific experience, but I've seen people that have.
Yeah, if you witnessed it. Like I've had a scary experience which made me want to quit, but that's the
Yeah.
reason I do it every weekend because I want to see more.
Mm.
And because of something what happened that night, I actually did something on Friday night, and that ended up a bit messy. But yeah.
I think since that experience of Adam, he's grown as an investigator.
Oh gosh, yeah,
He's
definitely.
he's come on a few with me. I mean, we were at Fort Willie a couple of weeks back, and I took him down the tunnels on my own. And he was like, "Did you hear that?" I was like, "Yep." I said, and the camera will back it up because he didn't used to hear voices as much. He used to,
I don't.
but now he does, and the people that I work with do because they're tuning in. They're literally listening out. And
Wow.
now that I always do this in my lives as well. I always believe that if you listen to a spirit frequency, I believe in frequencies. I use frequencies all the time
Yeah.
to raise vibration, all of it. I believe that again, it's everything is frequency. And if you listen to something quite often and you're there, you start to tune into that frequency. You're a part of it. And I've noticed that with a lot of people that I work with at Ghost to Ghost, when I first met them, a few could hear things, but bit by bit. But now they're starting to call out. Whereas, like, I just heard "Get out." Did you? Yes. So I'm like, that's what I want, and it's nice to see them actually growing and hearing the same things as me. Because sometimes it gives me a respite, and I'm like, they look at you, I'm like, yeah, there's a voice there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I heard a growl. That was good in that horrible cave at the bottom of the National Justice Museum, Nottingham. It's an amazing venue.
I've been there. I was filming at Nottingham Caves because I caught an apparition.
Oh wow!
At Nottingham Caves, it's actually a part of the cave that wasn't accessible. I saw a gentleman wearing a hooded figure in a, I don't know, it's like a bar area, and I said to my wife at the time, "There's a gentleman there, and I don't know what." He's just literally staring, and then literally, I left my cameras like I always do, lying around, scattered around, and we've caught a figure believed to be about 7 foot tall, wearing a robe, and he's holding a lantern, and he walks straight through a wall, and it's part of the cave system that you can't get to. And when I spoke to the owner, he said to me that there's actually I didn't know any of the history of it. There's a gentleman there that lost his life who was actually a monk, and his name's Dominic. And you've actually caught him because so many people have actually seen him. And for me, I thought, well, I've seen him to the eye, and I've caught him on camera. And I said to my wife, it's like he was following us around, and we had this smell of death. I always remember saying it on camera. It's like a smell of death here, or something like that. So, and then obviously to capture that as well in a part of the case system that you can't get to, I think is incredible because it can't be explained. And even the guys in the cave said that you would have had to go in the water through the pool system, and which you'd probably end up drowning because it's dangerous to even get to that point of the actual cave. So it's nice that it was a part of the cave that wasn't accessible to the public.
Yeah, that's right. Oh gosh, yeah, Nottingham. There are so many caves. I've actually been in somebody's garden, and they've got a cave system what you can get to from the garden. It's used as what in the war. A bomb shelter, and it's got the original writing on the wall, like "ladies and gents" and things like that.
Yeah,
and people have actually put the date in there as well. So when they were there, fascinating place. But yeah, there's so many caves everywhere under the city.
Yeah, I've been to the place that you just said you went to there because I was filming for
caves of National Justice Museum.
Yeah, I did a documentary in there a couple of years ago for Paranormal Captured, and they hired that out to do the interview. So I had access to the whole prison for myself for about a couple of hours. And when I was there, I was like, this is an interesting place. There's a lot going on. I obviously I couldn't do too much because while I was bored, I was like, I'm going to go and do a bit of exploring.
Don't blame
I'm in Nottingham, so I've got to check it out.
Yeah, I've got an issue with my past life there. So,
really?
Yeah, so it's mad. So I won't go into that now, but it's been ongoing.
One for another time.
Well, I've mentioned it before, but I'm finding out more and more. And the guys within the past life, I actually was linking in with at the weekend. That's why it got really heavy and silly. But hey, but yeah, and there's a well-known character there as well. So I had witnesses as well. So
yeah, that's good. That's what it's all about.
Well, no, I know for myself. The thing is, you get bits of evidence. You try and put a story together.
Yeah.
And we actually spoke to his spirit about 5 years ago, and the answers I got then, somebody was doing trance and brought him through.
Yeah.
We actually got the same answers this time.
Okay.
To the same questions, like he was a judge, and I said, "Can you read and write?" Because he couldn't. I don't know why, but he couldn't, and that's what he said with trance. And he couldn't. And I asked him sort of similar questions to asked previously, and he was coming out with the same answers now. So it means you're talking to potentially the same person, because I wasn't taking part in that experiment. I was just asking the questions.
Yeah.
But also, I questioned where he lived, and it's where I thought he lived,
Ah.
which actually links to my first past life regression I had.
Yeah.
So it's a bit freaky, but I'm just trying to get things together, really, and it's just like one mad story. But who knows how things work? I don't
Well,
know.
keep searching for it. Like you say, it's what it's about,
Oh
isn't
my
it?
gosh, I am.
You may
Yeah,
come to.
it's absolutely mad. National Justice Museum and caves are amazing. Myself and the boys went there when we were up there in June when I met Marie. And yeah, it's it's got so much rich history, hasn't it? You know,
Yeah.
you imagine all the torment, the
It's a bit like
emotion,
Bomb
and
and Gel,
everything.
isn't it? Bomb and Gel was a bit like that. It's
I
got.
need to go.
Oh,
Yes,
you've got to. I mean,
I
it's changed
do.
now. I know they've changed
Yeah,
it a bit, but
hotel, but yeah.
when I went there, I was in the building for about 30 minutes, and it all kicked off. Literally, the lights went out down in the basement, and we went up to the paranormal manager and said to her, "Is there any reason why the lights?" She said, "The lights have not gone out." I said, "Yes, they have." I said, "She goes, that's weird because if the lights went out, the circuits belong to second and first, so they'd all go
Okay.
out together." And we've gone back because I was trying to debunk it. And I said, "It's got to be an explanation for it." But I did feel very awkward down there, like I've just walked into some sort of play and it didn't feel good. And I even said that on camera. It doesn't feel nice down there at all. That was in the
Yeah,
basement. We've left the camera running while we're talking and trying to debunk the lights situation. And like I always do, I always say leave lots of cameras everywhere if you can. And
that's
as we're
brilliant.
doing that, an apparition of like a priest or someone wearing a suit in old clothing walks past in the basement area. And again, we've got that verified from Bob and Gel that there was no living person down there because
That's it.
they got CCTV back in that area. So not only we've
Excellent.
got the confirmation of ourselves, our camera, we've got theirs.
Did they capture it?
No, it didn't come out on theirs because it
Oh,
came out on ours, but it did. But
it,
I had the weird
yeah.
thing is I left my camera on infrared night vision.
Ah,
Their camera, because where the lights were still on, their camera was on normal. So mine's picked up in the infrared, theirs hasn't.
wow.
But that's why they can
Interesting.
back up that we're the only two people down there in the
Of
basement.
course I can. Yeah,
Because
that's amazing.
Mark, who gets a lot, Mark and Kirsten, they had quite a lot of people saying, oh, "I've caught this, caught that." When they're there, and Mark and Kirsten, they go over the footage when they work. Mark don't work there no longer, I don't think. But yeah, so they go over the footage, they analyze it, and are like, "No, sorry, we can prove this. It's not paranormal," which I
Yeah.
respect because they're not just going to go, "Yeah, it's paranormal" to make the gel better.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah. That's
yeah,
right.
but they said they caught. We went back in, and I said to them, "This is what we caught." And we only went back in to go and discuss the lights because Kirsten said, "I don't understand," and even Mark said it's impossible. That they had electricians in. They all said the same. The circuits all belong. It wouldn't be possible for the lights to go out in the basement. But as soon as they got down in that basement, it all kicked off. I was only in there for
Wow.
about 35 minutes, and then
They're waiting for you.
yeah, well, that's what I seem to have a thing with prisons. Like with the Schechter Mallet one with Adam, I walked into it, boom, it all kicked off. We caught an apparition there. He
Wow.
collapsed to the ground. Everyone in the group was like, "What's going on?" They didn't feel right. I'm on the balcony just recording it, going, "Told you, it's the calm before the storm."
Mm.
So it's mad. I don't know. Me in prisons, maybe it's me in prisons. I don't know.
Past life, then maybe.
Possibly.
You're friends with Paul Goddard, aren't you?
I've got him on Facebook. Yeah,
Oh,
I have. Yeah, I've got him on Facebook.
yeah.
But yeah, it's the same with forts. So when I go into a fort, military base,
Okay.
um, I get a lot of responses, and then we've last not
Interesting.
last year or the year before that, we had access to a military base where no one was allowed to go in there. But we were documenting what was going on there, and the amount of things that we picked up there was phenomenal. Because again, a lot of cover-ups and stuff that's not been told. The story's been told differently. So you've got spirits there that are angry because it's like, no, that's not me. I didn't do that, or this didn't happen. So
Yeah.
the voices we were capturing on camera was incredible. But then a
Wow.
lot of faults that I go to, I tend to get a highly marginal. 9 times out of 10, if I get a call voice out in a fort, it comes out on camera. Not always. It depends on how far away
That's
they are. But
incredible. That's brilliant.
yeah, so it's weird. But again, forts and military bases and prisons, I tend to get a hell of a response when it comes to like investigating there.
That's brilliant. It is, but I do think that each of us kind of have links to locations where
Yeah,
we will get something. But then again, if you go there frequently as well, they get to know you, don't they? And
That's what I
that's
always
always
say.
good.
I always say that. Go back as many times as possible, build
That's
that
it.
connection, and then you'll get better responses. If you go once, you'll get you'll be lucky enough to get something. But if you keep going back and set
Yeah.
and trying, then sooner or later they're going to be like, well, they're not getting out, so I'm going to tell them to get out, or they're going to try something to get you out and not come back, or they might think, you know what, I've got a lot of respect for this person. They're coming back. They're genuinely interested. They're not just doing it for the cameras,
Yeah,
you know.
that's
And
right.
I think that's the way forward for people. Just keep returning, but do it because you want to, not because you're just doing it for the viewers. Do it because you want
Oh,
to.
this is the whole thing, isn't it? We spoke about stars and things earlier, and
Hmm.
you don't do stars. You know, anything you do is for charity, isn't
Well,
it?
yeah,
But then
I try to
people,
anything that I make out of this, I try and put
yeah.
back into like something good, like animal charities. I love dogs,
Oh,
cats.
bless you. Yeah.
And that's the recent charity did at Fort Whitley and stuff. You know, it was for animals and stuff. So, you know, I want to try and put something good back into it because I always believe that if you put something good into it, you'll get rewards back somewhere or another along the line.
Oh,
And
bless you.
you know, so yeah, for me, it's a passion. It's not a money making thing. Even when I've done media
Yeah.
stuff in the past, I've donated the money to charities just to help them out and stuff.
Oh,
So yeah,
it's so lovely that you do that because the rescues need as much help as they can get. You know, of everyone getting dogs through lockdown, and that's it. They're all
yeah.
returning them to rescues now, aren't they? And I ended up with the rescue dog on lockdown.
Well,
Um,
we've got one now, but we waited because of the Ukraine thing. We had to wait like
oh,
6 months to get her, but it was worth it. We got her now, and
oh,
yeah,
bless you.
she's
She
settled.
settled down. That's good. Yeah, she came. Where did she come from? Ukraine,
No, she's actually from Romania. So
Romania. Oh, yeah. My friend's got a Romanian one.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's hard work, but it's worth it. It's
This
definitely worth
one's
it.
quite cheeky because she tries to snap at mine. She's in control, you know. She's like Chihuahua size, but not a Chihuahua, like Romanian type of Chihuahua.
Yeah.
And I've got a boxer, and she's the right one to him. So yeah,
No,
you can't go near her. She tells
anything
him.
for charities for animals, I'm there. Like you know,
Oh yeah.
in the future, I would like to do more if I can when with the paranormal. You know, if I ever got to a situation where I can do this for a living, I'd probably
Oh,
put the money. I'd put the money into something like that and say, look, give the money to
bless
them,
you.
and then
Yeah,
at least that way it's going to a good cause and stuff. And
that's right. I
you
totally
know,
get you.
but yeah, it's good. Like even down to with her and stuff. We've had rescue dogs always mainly. The only rescue dog we haven't got is a German Shepherd, but we got him when he was a puppy when we had our two other rescue dogs. So
Oh wow.
we wanted to get a puppy together and stuff, but
Yeah.
obviously
Oh,
now that obviously they passed away, we've got another rescue just to sort of like give them a bit
yeah.
of company.
Yeah, that's it. I've got a question here from Andy Tom. Have you ever come over very tired on an investigation?
Yeah, I mean a lot of people could say you're there for 7 or 8 hours, you're going to be tired, but I'm high energized.
Oh, right, yeah.
It takes a hell of a lot to tire me out, and I know 9 times out of 10, if I'm drained by that investigation, I've had some sort of encounters,
Yeah,
and the
that's it.
cameras will back that up. But yeah, you could put the philosophy that no, it's just you're tired because you've been there for 6, 7, 8 hours and stuff. But I know my own energy, and
You do. That's right.
I observe other people around me, and if I see them on investigations getting very slouchy and like just sway a bit, they call it the sway effect. I know that
Yeah,
something's drawing out energy, not out of bad intent necessarily, but in order to create something, you've got to drain something. So they're trying
that's
to
right.
drain your energy to communicate. And if you think about it logically, I'm capturing these disembodied voices, and that's going to take a lot of energy from them to do that. So whose energy
Massively.
they're going to take? Mine.
Yeah,
So
that's right. I got very tired the other day because I think the guy from National Justice Museum sort of has been attached to me for 2 weeks before I went there
yeah,
as well. So yeah, I had a bit of an issue, but we sorted it out. Got rid of him for now. But yeah, yeah, it was very draining. And
well, again, it's like some
yeah,
people some people can say they can explain the draining effect, but if you've got public saying to me, "I feel a bit punch drunk," and then you've
yeah,
got 10 people, it's interesting because when the public are there, you get 7 people saying, "Oh, I get punch drunk," or you get someone say, "My liver hurts," and then you get other people say, "It's like, well, you can't all be experiencing the same thing. You're
yeah,
being affected by something, or they're trying to show you something, or." or they're imprinting what happened to them maybe.
That's
Um,
right. I often get pain. I pick up on pains and things. Um, that's how. Yeah, I think the first thing is I pick up something's pain. I
yeah,
pick up an injury or something like that. And at the Paranormal Research Centre, there's an old wheelchair,
yeah,
and people sit in that, and some feel that the limbs are missing, or and they a lot pick up things from there. And it's great if people have never done this or people who have done it. But their first encounter is sitting there and picking up something like that. And
yeah.
you can't say yay or nay. Loads of people have sat in that chair and you're picking
It's
up
one of those
things.
things, though, isn't it? You can't prove it, but at the same point, it's still an experience for you. So,
Yeah, it's
and
like,
if you go
why
back
is
there
it
and have it,
happening?
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So it's one of those that people are like, yeah, of course, on the camera, which is why I keep saying you can't prove or disprove anything in this field. You just got to do it for you, and But at the same point, that's an experience that someone's maybe showing you because they feel comfortable enough, even though it's a horrible experience. But that maybe it's that you might be asking the right question, and they're showing that by this is what happened to me. How did you die? And you're getting a pain somewhere. It could be them a way of them saying to you, "I got stabbed here, or shot, or in the back, or you
yeah,
just don't know." But it's never nice to experience pain.
yeah. But then, like, people with me go, "Oh, get it, take it away," and you think, "Well, I'm trying to work out what it is. You
Mm,
know, where's the pain coming from? What potentially could be, what illness could be causing it?" And
yeah.
I'm just too busy trying to work out what sort, because I know it's not my pain,
Mm. Well,
and you do know how you are, and
yeah, of course,
and
yeah. If you've
something was
never
different,
experienced it
don't you?
before, then
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. To Adam's question, now, I mean, he's been on a lot of investigations the last several months, and I mean, a lot of the locations we go to, we book out literally with just a small team, and then
yeah,
we go back sometimes with the public. And he's experienced a hell of a lot,
that's awesome.
and it's nice. And wait, he's saying that you get a lot of responses wherever you go. I mean, 9 times out of 10, if it's haunted, it may not be true of the hauntings, but if there's something there,
Yeah,
I'm gonna capture it. Or I'm gonna call it out and say he just said. And Adam's right on that. But at the same point, there has been times where I've been wrong, where I've heard someone say get out. It's not. It's like hi. I'm like, well, why did I hear get out? But I'm not perfect in that sense. But at the same point, at least I've heard something. And
yeah, that's right.
that's why I always say to any investigator, if you hear something, call it out because let the camera do the work for you. That's what it's there for.
Oh
You may
wow.
be you may be right, you may be wrong, but at least if you've caught something to the ear or even to the eye, then you've got something to back it up, as in a camera.
Yeah.
Um, Myself and one of our teammates, past life connection, Derby. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot about the past life regression stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
again,
Oh, it's so interesting.
I know a lot of people say it's a load of rubbish, but then you don't know until you try it, do you? You just
We
got to do it.
don't know. No,
Yeah.
I think like I'd often heard of it, and I was too scared to do it because I didn't want to be a serial killer or something. Because whatever you discover, you've got to now live with.
Yeah.
If you believe it. But the first one, it was 1200s. I was a
Yeah.
fruit seller, and the funny thing is, I don't like fruit because it gets my fingers sticky.
Ah.
So you know what I mean? It's like, well, why have I got this like phobia? I don't know. And I just the thought of getting sticky fingers through fruit. You know what I
Well,
mean? I'll go digging in the garden, not a problem. But it's just fruit and sticky fingers. It's just mad, isn't it? And
well,
yet,
it's
moving a fruit seller 1200s,
yeah.
and I found out enough information that I could
Hmm.
then look at the historical records and actually tie it back
Ah.
to the year, the king, and I got killed basically when the Richard came up back with the Crusaders.
Yeah.
So he came back and swiped me with the sword, and that was it. Bye. And that all tied in, because it came out that the castle was wooden
Hmm.
when I was there as well, and it was, when I checked out the history, that was correct, and the right king's names, and it all worked out, and that was amazing.
No, I mean it's like where the fears and phobias come from. We're not born
Yeah,
with them. As a kid, most of them are fearless. But as you get older, is it a case like you just said there? There's things that have happened maybe in your past life that that have
Yeah.
happened, and it stayed with you. Trauma does.
Right.
Trauma's energy at the end of the day, and that will stay with you on your energy field.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
I mean,
Anything's possible.
it is strange, and gosh, what's going off at the moment? I have no idea, but it's all interesting. I'm
Hmm.
trying to put questions together, and yeah, I'm working on it. But people have been around when these things have been experienced, and it's fascinating. I've got the past life recorded as well. So Heidi got pneumonia after going to the isolation hospital. Wow,
Hmm. So yeah. I mean,
interesting.
I've had experiences there when I've come out of there. Well, it's mainly when I'm in the hospital itself, and it's been reported by a couple of people that have been with me that they're tight, their chest feels tight. Underground, I'd say, yeah, it's possible, but this isn't underground, so because again, low density air and stuff like that. But when you're in just a room, it's a gym, but it used to be a hospital, and you've been there for a while, and suddenly you start getting a tight chest, and other people are reporting it.
Yeah,
And that,
that's it.
so it's possible. I mean, I've never had nothing where I've actually caught something from there, and then after the investigation, but I'd never rule out anything. If I'm being honest, you've got to be open to anything
We
if you're
we
doing.
can't say we just nobody knows enough.
No,
Unless
exactly.
we've been and we've come back and we know we have, we've
Yep.
which nobody can actually say that for definite.
No.
Well, yeah, if we've done a past life, you can't remember going elsewhere and coming back, can you? So it's just very odd. So we've got a few comments then. Andy says at an active location, one of the investigators fell asleep. This happened on 2 different occasions at the same venue. Sue Robinson, just because you have no activity at location, even though it's known to be a haunted location, it doesn't mean the location has no spirits.
Yep. Exactly.
Always
It's
go a
very
few
true.
times, but I kind of think that people take spirits as well. So you go to a well-known location,
Mm.
you've taken something with you, be it from another location, or you can take your family around as well,
Yeah.
or you may even call something in what's walking by because you're intrigued.
Yeah, I mean,
You just don't know.
I've had a few personal experiences. I know that I've got my granddad around me. He was a
Oh,
gentleman that
beautiful.
had the experience in his house, and I've always been told, but even before I started the paranormal, it's weird because when people you've got some different aura about you. There's something about you. Even when people meet me now, there's something about your energy. I'm like, yeah, I've
Yeah.
got ADHD. Joking. That's what I used to say. My energy would be different, but yeah, I've always been told that my granddad's been around me and stuff. Even before I started the paranormal journey, and I've picked
Yeah.
up his voice a couple of times on camera, but because it's personal, I keep it to myself.
Yeah.
And I've heard his name being called out a couple of times on camera, but it could be my name. It's just one of those. But yeah, it's just one of those that okay, you've been told it, but I've also got proof of his voice on camera to back it. I do a
Oh,
bit of stuff on my own sometimes, and just thank him for helping me and stuff like that, doing this paranormal journey because I know for a fact that he's there trying to push me to do it because he had so many experiences in his house, but yet he was so comfortable with it, and he just used to go, yeah, it's just a ghost, and yeah, so and I
that's
love that
awesome.
philosophy because he wasn't afraid of it, and
That's
that's the
brilliant.
that's the approach that I've got. I'm not afraid or fearful of it because one day I'm going to be that. So
That's
like
right. Yeah. That's it. I've taken my mum and dad to a theatre in Leicester before.
yeah,
I'd lost my mum and dad, and I knew somebody was alongside me in the car because it's my mum's car, mum and dad's car. I've still got it. It's been a few years, and it's still going, hopefully. And my mum was in the passenger, and then I turned up at the event. There's a medium on stage, and we're doing the event start. And said, "Oh, you've got a lady next door to you." I said, "Oh yeah, that'd be my mum then." And said, "Oh, the gentleman behind you in a wheelchair." And I said, "Oh, I don't know." But my dad had been in a wheelchair last week, 4 weeks of his life, basically.
yeah,
And then he got a message about my dog, and mentioned something else. And it's like, wow, you're going on a ghost hunt, and your family's with you. And it was just so random. But
yeah. I can believe that definitely.
it it was just,
It's,
yeah,
I mean, like you said there, at the end of the day, if everywhere is haunted, and it is,
yeah,
and I because I go to some places where you think, but then you don't know what's happened at the time before that with the lands and
the
stuff
land,
and
yeah,
the
everything.
traumatic things that have happened, or you just don't know. But it's like you said, you've got to have an on and off button. You can't, otherwise, I'll just be investigating every day. Another theory that I come into it, I used to have experiences in the daytime at my granddad's. And I remember
Oh,
when I first started, I got quite a lot of stick for it. And I thought, why? Why is he investigating in the daytime? But that's when I had the experiences. So I wanted to go and verify it. And why do ghosts only come out at night? They don't, or
I
spirit,
don't.
whatever.
Yeah,
They don't. They're there all the time. And quite a few of my apparitions that I've caught and disembodied voices have been in the daytime, and
oh,
as well as night. So it's just it's preference to your experience. If I caught
that's
stuff
right.
at night, I had like things happen in my bedroom, I'd be investigating at night. But because I was seeing it in the daytime, I was more intrigued to search for it in the daytime. But it was amazing how much you can't do it in the daytime. I'm like, why can't we? At the end of the day, if it's there, it's there. They're not just going to come up because it's dark and the moon's out. But yeah, it's amazing. Some people's theories on that. I was like, wow. Well, I carry on doing it because I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me. So I carry on
That's
doing what I'm doing.
yeah, and that's right. To everyone watching, just do it for yourself.
Mm.
You got questions, if you got theories, just try. And see if you get responses. And nothing is stupid, is it? We don't know. You know,
No, exactly.
we
Like you
don't know how
say,
it works the other side.
no. It's everything's a theory, even from both sides. If you're a parasite or a skeptic, non-believer, it's just theories thrown out there. What you believe and what you don't.
Yeah,
You just go with what you believe or what you feel at the time.
yeah. Certainly, just go around questioning everything and be respectful, isn't it?
Same thing in life. Question everything. They
Oh gosh.
even through the old pandemic, we were told trust the science.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah,
Trust the
that yeah,
science. We know what
exactly.
happened there,
So
don't we? Yeah,
that's why I always say
definitely.
to everyone, don't believe firsthand what you've been told, especially when it comes to life. I'm one of those that I question everything because nothing makes sense to me. I analyze everything. I've got
Yeah.
to see it for myself to believe it. If someone says to me this, that, the other, I'm like, yeah, that's what you believe, but let me go and suss this out for myself.
Yeah.
That could be the ADHD in me. I don't know. Just like hyper or just trying to overthink things and rationalize and I don't know. But I'm just one of those that with life in general, I
Yeah.
don't, I don't. Half of it doesn't make sense to me, and I'm just like, I've got to find out what's going on here because it doesn't make any sense. I
Yeah.
even ask questions, and this is quite interesting to in locations about certain things, certain topics, and I do it with people that are around me that and I'm getting responses from spirit saying yes, no, that sort of thing. We've called it with several other people, especially about the UFO stuff. And I'm thinking, well, if anyone's going to know, they are because they're going to be more knowledgeable than us, and
Yeah.
they see all that, etc. So yeah, I'm just one of those that I analyze everything, absolutely
That's
everything.
cool. Yeah. Which helps with what we do, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
I ask questions, to the nth degree, and like this puzzle going off at the moment, it's just mad, and you keep getting theories, and then you sort of try and prove the theory you have, and then it
And the
might
question
send you
mark
on
comes
a
out.
different, yeah, and you
Yeah.
might get sent down a different route, going, well, no, but oh, then there's this one. Oh gosh,
It's
but
a bit
yeah,
weird. I've got a
fantastic.
Scooby cup here. Look, Scooby Doo mysteries.
I've got a Scooby Doo here,
Oh
Rocky.
yeah,
Wake
there
up.
you go. So
He's
it's quite
sleeping.
weird you're saying that.
He does look like Scooby. He's got floppy ears. He's a box
Yeah.
straight mastiff, so he's a bit Scooby Dooey looking. Yeah, with a great big tail like Scooby and sort of same height, but yeah, he's a bit Scooby. And he growls at spirit as well.
Oh really?
So yeah, so four times now he's growled at spirit. Once was at schooner, he's growling at a chair in the bar area.
Yeah.
I went to Dalkean Castle in Scotland. I was with uh, Paranormal Footprints, and he was growling at the grass, and then the REM pod there went off.
Ah.
So yeah, and he growled at me once when I was with my old dog's Ashes,
Yeah.
and it's just amazing, isn't it? And yeah, I think he's scared. If he is scared, he growls. So yeah, oh Mandy as well. She goes over analysing, but then I think to it suits what we do, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, we're here to research. It's
Yeah, and
like I always say, if you don't try these things, then how are you ever going to know? I mean, I came into it, and when I first come into it, I was like, I tried every bit of equipment because of my brother mainly, because I was watching them and I was thinking,
yeah,
and it wasn't for me. But it doesn't mean to say it's not for other people. I mean, I recently did a article on Take a Break, Fate and Fortune for Spirit Box, Now, I personally I don't use it, but I know people that do, and I've heard swearing words come out on it, and
Yeah,
I'm like, well, there wouldn't be swearing words broadcasting on the radio. If they were, they'd be taken
that's
off there.
right. Yeah,
So to me, they asked my honest opinion. I said I don't use it, but I've seen people that have, and what I have heard is swearing words come through it. So how can you explain that? And if you're an underground tunnel and you've got no reception, which we do quite a lot of, you wouldn't be necessarily having things come through anyway. You can't even get a phone signal. So and we've heard things come at FU and stuff. I'm like, well, that's doubly interesting for me because
yeah,
there's two things there. We're in a tunnel and there's a swearing word coming through that. So why are we hearing that?
yeah.
So
That's right.
but it's like I said, you've got to have an open mind. You can't just say no, this isn't, or this is. Try it. If it doesn't work for you, doesn't mean it's not. It just means it's not for you. The
That's
equipment's
right.
not for me. So, but I'm quite happy to sit there, listen, and call out. And if I don't get nothing, hey ho, on to the
Fine.
next.
You tried. That's it. Great question here, Sue Robinson. So, a number of people don't agree with doing spirit communication at graveyards. Do you think it's an insensitive thing to do, or not see an issue with it? So, you first, and I'll go.
So, me personally, I've done one graveyard since doing this, and that was a graveyard that's no longer active. It's actually in the Doomsday Book. It's a 500-year-old graveyard, and it's basically just a walkthrough to go down to like a tide. And I was asked by a couple of members of the public to go and check it out because they felt quite scared to go there at night and even sometimes in the day because they were experiencing like a dark shadow kind of thing. Straight away, I
Wow.
was like, okay, well, there's several people here that's saying this. It's not just one. So I literally went there to go and check it out, and I actually caught something on camera that can't be explained. It's like a mist, literally, but it's like an energy force that comes towards me. And that hit news when I first started doing this actually, and it sort of verified what they were experiencing. I mean, you didn't feel like you were alone, and but at the same point, I was only there for about 25, 30 minutes, and I encountered that, and yeah, but active graveyards, no, I'm not. To me, I don't see the you're not going to hang around your grave, in my opinion. Just because there's a graveyard there. I'm quite happy to go and sit in a graveyard on a bench and feel quite peaceful.
Yeah,
And so for me, it's like that. I don't buy that theory, and I wouldn't sort of put out there or promote investigating graveyards only because there could be recent people there that have passed away, and you're filming that, and that someone might see that, and that's their grave, or I've
yeah,
seen people
that's
do it
right.
before, so it's not really for me, if I'm being honest. But that's
Yeah,
I don't buy the theory of it.
I have been to graveyards. There's one village about 6-7 miles away. That's something. It's not. It's, the back part of the graveyard isn't used.
Okay.
It, well, it's got really old stones in it,
Hmm.
so I won't go anywhere near a modern graveyard or anywhere where people are buried now.
Yeah.
I do go to a graveyard right near Annesley Hall
Hmm.
because that church is like not used, not active now. And
Yeah.
you've got like the connections to the Byrons and the Musters and Shelworths all relating to Lord Byron, so I will go in there.
Yeah.
I have picked up um, things of gentlemen walking through there, and that was in the daytime. And I was with my friends, and they actually picked up some sort of elemental thing as well,
Oh, okay.
which just really ran to some great big snake thing, which was really two or three of them saw it. I didn't because I don't see, but and it's interesting. But I would not go near near modern gravestones because it's
No.
it's wrong and offensive. In the same way, like you've got to ask yourself a question: would you like someone doing that to your family's gravestone?
No.
And you wouldn't. So if you wouldn't like somebody going up to going like my dad's house was empty for ages.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't have been impressed if somebody had gone in it, looking
No.
through all his stuff. And a
No.
lot of
Definitely.
explorers do that, and it's like, oh God, no! If that's your family, you don't want people going through all your private stuff. If you think the
No.
house is empty or not, it was somebody's treasures, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
So
it's
sad.
I totally agree with all. with even with the houses and stuff. I mean, I don't do sort of abandoned houses as such. We've done a few asylums, but they've been
Yeah,
closed. But it's like you say, it's the theories, isn't it? It's like we've heard children's voices in these asylums and stuff, so it's going there really to sort of document what's there. But as a rule, we tend to sort of just book out locations between us, and
yeah,
just
that's
and
right.
I'm one of those that I want to go to all the haunted locations in the UK and say yay or
Yeah,
nay. But this is what I've encountered. Doesn't mean to say that you may or may not, but and just discover it for myself rather than be influenced by people's stories and stuff. I don't. Look, for instance, we have people. Oh, do you want me to tell the stories? I'm like, no, please. So just let me go in and I'll talk to you after of what we've encountered. I don't want to know the history. I just want to go in and start from fresh. Hey, my name's Tony. Introduce myself and go from there and see
yeah,
how it unfolds. And I know people say, oh, you should learn the history, but maybe history's been lying. Maybe the truth's not been told and it's been overhyped. So I don't really want to sort of be brainwashed into thinking, or there's this demon here. I mean, certain places you go to, oh, there's this here, and I'm like, no, there isn't. You've got that from somewhere that but there isn't. There's nothing horrible here. You'd know it. Do you know what I mean? Like if you walk
yeah,
into a building, you automatically know if there's something horrible there. And when you hear some stories from these people, and some of them say I'm a skeptic, and they show you around. It's like, I've seen a ghost there, seen a ghost there, seen a child there. I'm like, okay, so and you don't believe in it? Why? If you've seen it and you're telling me, and
yeah.
I'm just like that, just thinking, okay. And I think members of the public when they were showing us around said, and he's a skeptic. I was like, well, yeah.
Yeah, that's a wonderful one, isn't it? Yeah, it is strange when, yeah, I have experience, and yet yeah. I call myself a skeptic in some ways because I like try and rationalize and try and question things, but
Hmm.
I know of the existence. I have encounters most weekends. I go out looking for it, and it happens, doesn't it? If
Yeah,
you're with, I think if you're with the right high energy people, then you can. I think if you're with the right people, you can get things come through.
yeah, of
You
course, yeah. I mean,
know,
every
it does make
investigator.
a big difference, doesn't it?
I've always said this to everyone like me. Everyone should be skeptical of especially devices because
I've just seen something fly behind me.
have you?
Yeah,
I didn't.
just.
I looked
Oh,
the other
it
way.
could be the telly. It's all right. I've got the telly on, so it could be a
There you
shadow.
go.
I'll check
Um,
it anyway
yeah, but no,
afterwards.
be skeptical of devices. Be skeptical of everything. Question it because if you don't, you're not a paranormal investigator. You've got to
That's right.
question
Yeah.
things. You can't just go, "That's paranormal. That's paranormal." I mean, people send me photos and of like things they class as orbs. I mean, I've seen orbs to the eye in the past, and I've caught things on camera that shape shift and just
Yeah.
different. And I put it out there with a question mark. If you don't believe it, it's fine. But at
Yeah.
the same point, if people send me stuff and say, I'm like, well, no, that's dust, or that's not. But that's my opinion, and I
Yeah.
always say take 3 or 4 photos and then send it to me because then I can look at it and then compare it. Whereas if you just send me one, I'm just looking at your one shot. Whereas if you want an investigation, Debbie from Ghost to Ghost always says it stresses it to her customers. You know, if
And
you're going to capture something, please get several shots in one go, and then we'll look at it and say, yeah, there's something interesting there. Otherwise, it's just pareidolia, a lot of it.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Definitely.
it's each
Yeah.
their own. I'm one of those that I'm not going to lie to you and go that's a ghost because then you're going to go be looking for the wrong thing. I'm going to
Yeah.
say,
That's it.
so you've got to be honest about it, but at the same point, be respectful. Because everyone's got to start somewhere and learn. Everyone's at different levels of doing this, and don't sort of shoot them down to the point where they think I'm not going to share anything out again. Because so yeah, I'll just be respectful.
Oh. Cheers, Marie. I might see you. I don't know. See about that. Carl as well. I know Carl from Derby Jail as well. Haunted graveyards. We had an old guy who sits on a bench. Spent hours there when visiting his wife's grave. Very peaceful spot, and still he sits to this day. And yeah, and I did kind of wonder that about graveyards. Like if you do go and take flowers to your relatives all your life, like my mum always took to my, she always took flowers with her mum
Yeah,
to her mum's graveyard. And even when her mum had passed, she still went to the graveyard taking flowers.
yeah,
And you can imagine that is actually, yeah, that might actually be continuing.
Mm.
because
Yes.
they did that in life, didn't they? And so, yeah, you just don't know really.
Well, it's just a respectful thing, isn't it? It's paying respects to people that you love and just letting them know that
That's right.
you're there for
Yeah,
them. They're not forgotten.
yeah, that's
That's the way I
right.
see it.
But I wonder if she's still doing it, which made me wonder now.
It's a possibility.
And that is why you might get like activity in a graveyard if people are just doing what they did in life,
Hmm.
visiting.
I mean,
But
people say that they find graveyards creepy, but I find them quite
oh,
peaceful.
I find them really peaceful as well, and the birds can be amazing.
Hmm.
I don't,
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know.
definitely.
You hear the birds. Well, they've got trees and things as well, haven't they? So I don't know. You sort of it just seems different there. Yeah, I do sort of like the energy. Yeah,
I'm
sort of
just
these.
I'm one of those people that if you don't find me in dark tunnels or creepy locations, I'm out in nature. I'm lit because I've got
I
dogs and
love
stuff.
nature.
I'm
Yeah,
on the beach or by a waterfall. That's my sort
yeah.
of second home. Well, it's my first home if I'm being honest.
Well,
Like
yeah.
literally. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right. I'd love to be out and about all the time.
yeah,
It's
you can't beat
being
nature.
outside. Yeah, that's right. Like, I went to Wales a few weeks ago and oh my gosh, standing on a bridge over a fast flowing river right
Yeah.
near a waterfall. My gosh, the energy from that.
When did you go? Because we were only there for about
I
four
was
weeks
there
ago.
about the same time as you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
No,
because we were chatting about a show and
yeah.
I was at Shell Island near Barmouth.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't think you were too far away from there either, were you?
No, we stayed on a site where literally there had streams. Outside our caravan, we had a waterfall just pulling down. I mean, I didn't want to go home. I was home. I was like, no, can we stay here now? Because it's either a
Oh,
beach or a waterfall, and I'm content. But
yeah.
it's one of those holidays that I've always wanted to do, where I can wake up and take the dogs out, and there's streams all around you and waterfalls,
Oh,
and you're in the
gorgeous.
middle of the countryside. It's breathtaking. And well, I did a couple of investigations out there as well to a couple of castles and
Awesome, yeah.
caught a couple of people speaking in Welsh to me, and I couldn't
Oh,
understand what they were
brilliant.
saying. Yeah, so
Fantastic.
that hit media as well. It's one of the castles out there that I went in on my own, and I, I kept on saying I don't understand what you're saying, but on camera there's
Oh,
someone speaking in Welsh to me. But then back in them times, that I'm North Wales, and they're quite, they used to speak.
they do speak a lot of Welsh, yeah.
Yeah,
No, a lot of the signage is Welsh. Yeah, they do now, yeah.
but yeah, it's
But,
interesting because it again, you're in a different not different country, a different place where they speak different language.
yeah.
But I was trying to sort of ask questions, and I thought, you have no idea what I'm saying. I just, but
Oh, bless you.
I'm hearing stuff coming back, and the camera's backing it up, and I'm just like, well, yeah. Thanks for at least acknowledging my voice, even if it is like, get out, I don't like the English or
Yeah,
whatever it is. You
whatever
gave
it
me
was.
some sort of
Yeah.
response, but
That's beautiful. Do you think you can get somebody to actually translate it for you?
I've had a couple of people that message me and say what was said, but then I'm just like, well, some people have come up with different theories. But the
Okay.
main the main thing is, I mean, the media got in touch straight away because they saw the footage, and the cast was quite. They did, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here.
Oh, yeah. I knew
Okay.
you were there. Yeah, I saw it on Facebook that you were there.
Yeah, so it was there, and and I think for me it was just a case of like I don't really go abroad to do ghost hunting as such, and
Yeah.
to go to a place where there's a different language, it made me realise, I should have got in there and touched up on a bit of Welsh to say at least say hello, but it was too late. I was in and out, and but at least I've got something. And I am going to go back in the future with a reporter because they got in touch and said they would like to come and actually document the night. One of the
Wow.
actual so yeah, a lot of even the Skirrid Inn as well.
Oh,
We
Spirit. Yeah.
yeah,
Amazing.
lovely people as well there, absolutely lovely.
Oh, they
It,
are. Yeah.
I got there and they shut the pub down. I was like, no, you don't have to do that. Like they
Oh,
literally just closed it
bless
down and they left. And they said, it's all yours. Have a good night. And I was like, that's so lovely. To go and do that. Like, and they said that you got all the free rooms to yourself. And then
wow.
obviously we caught some amazing evidence there. And again, the Welsh press got in touch, and we had a couple of voices. One saying my name. We had a couple of get outs from a male there, but I'm the only male there. And one of my cameras got tugged, one of my locked off cameras,
Wow.
whilst we're in room one, it sort of got pulled, and you can hear a male saying Fanny, and you can hear me
Oh,
and my wife talking, and
yeah. Oh, brilliant.
it's like two voices talking to each other in the room, but yet I'm in room two with my wife,
And
and
Fanny is a well-known name there. If
well,
anyone
yeah,
doesn't know, that is associated with the Skirridin. But yeah,
exactly.
that's
So yeah,
fantastic.
so
Yeah. See, if you got the Spirit Talker app, the name Fanny came out, and she's well known in that, and that's it, isn't it?
we did use it in there because that's when I first started using it, and it came out of prison. It was once used as a prison,
Yeah,
hung. A lot of hangs were there. People hanging. Obviously,
yeah,
it was like a
that's
place of like. So there was a few things that were interesting with it. I mean, for me, it was mainly just hearing a couple of voices in Welsh there, and also hearing voices other than ourselves. Because me and my wife booked it out all to ourselves.
yeah.
They left us to it, and yeah, and then the press got in touch and said we'd love to go back there with you in the future.
Oh,
So we're
fantastic.
looking to go back with Ghost to Ghost, Debbie and Emily from there, and see what we can encounter.
Yeah, it is a fascinating place. It really is. I went there, just a few of us. It's an all-nighter. Then you get the breakfast in the morning. I was also staying at Lantony Priory. It's a
Okay,
dodgy little campsite there. Well, it's a field,
yeah,
and right near the abbey, and that's an interesting place. But they sort of leave the ghost hunting to the Skirrid.
yeah.
But obviously, you're going to have a look round and see what you can get on here.
You've got to be wrong not to.
Yeah, that's it. What else do we do? So I did ask him about encounters when I went in there and had a chat to them. But yeah, it's an interesting location. But that's it. We've got such history around us, haven't we? And it's
It's everywhere.
fascinating, isn't it? Yeah,
Everywhere.
that's
History is
right.
everywhere.
And apparently, my house is on a former Anglo-Saxon graveyard. I didn't even know that until I went to a ghost hunt around the corner. And they
Oh,
said, "Oh yeah, all this area is that." And like, "Oh, cool." So bonus.
well, yeah. You don't have to go far to go for an investigation, do you?
No, that's right. And I think I bring enough back from me from events and stuff anyway.
Yeah.
They kind of follow me sometimes, but can't be helped. These things happen. But yeah, thank you so much anyway. It's been absolutely
No
awesome
worries.
chatting
It's been
to you.
well, like I say, it's been a long time. I know it's taken a long time to come on and
Oh,
stuff.
don't worry about it. It's not a problem.
But
It's just so
it's
nice.
been a pleasure talking to you and just talking things, as it is. It's not, I don't even
Oh,
feel like we're on a live. I just feel like I'm talking to
yeah, just
you in
nattering.
general. People just have a chat about the paranormal.
Oh gosh, yeah, just chilled out, and wherever it goes, it goes. And but
Yeah,
but yeah, so people contact you by looking for Tony Ferguson, Ghost Whisperer. You on
yeah.
YouTube as well?
I don't really use YouTube no more. I've literally
Okay,
I've gone
it's all
onto
Facebook
Facebook.
now.
I put TikTok short captures and stuff for people. I highlight
Yeah,
the disembodied voices, but yeah, just again, it's like everyone's got their own different sort of investigators they want to watch. But yeah, Tony Ferguson Ghost on Facebook. If you
yeah,
want to check it out, have a look. If not, no worries.
yeah. Okay then. Thanks everyone anyway, and have a good night, have a good week, and take care everyone.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks for joining, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.